Back to Capitol Square, everybody. I'm Jim Heath. Our conversation with Governor Ted Strickland continues. Perhaps no issue irritated the governor more in 2010 than Troopergate. His then public safety director, Kathy Collins-Taylor, called off a contraband sting at the governor's residence, prompting accusations by Republicans of a cover-up. Troopergate, I hate to bring that up,
yes,
but that started this campaign year. You said at the time that you believed that it was Republicans kind of stirring dust and what have you. We have had an admission recently from a Republican senator that indeed it did have political origins. You've got the Inspector General who you sparred with, who's now been appointed the Public Safety Director. As you look back, were you right on that? I mean, how are you viewing that, and are you concerned about that particular appointment to head public safety?
Well, I saw Senator Voinovich at the Michigan-Ohio State football game, and he said, Governor, that residence controversy was bull. You know what? Listen, the inmates broke some rules. There was never any drugs involved. It was tobacco and later some alcohol. So they engaged in behavior. They broke the rules, and you know, that shouldn't have happened, but it happened. And but in terms of the literally months of investigation, I think probably hundreds of thousands of dollars perhaps in the cost of that investigation. And quite frankly, I found out that my personal phone records were acquired. Had the Inspector General asked me for them, I would have voluntarily given them to him. But Verizon apparently was sent a subpoena, and their regulations that I found out was that they honor those subpoenas when they for criminal investigations. Mr. Charles is not authorized to conduct a criminal investigation. That troubles me. I think my personal privacy and the privacy of some of my staff were violated inappropriately. I did not say anything about it at the time. I can talk about it now that I'm leaving office because I don't want it, to appear that I, was trying to protect myself in some way.
Is that a political appointment now, that he's going to oversee public safety?
Well, I don't know. Mr. Kasich has to choose his cabinet members as I chose mine. And I appointed Tom Charles as Inspector General. Speaking
of Senator Voinovich, on this program last week, I asked him whether you can solve an $8 billion problem without raising taxes, and he said absolutely not. Your successor believes that he can do it without raising taxes. I know you had pledged that you did not want to have to do that, but is it realistic not to have some sort of even a short-term tax increase on the table? I mean, $8 billion is a huge, 30% chunk of the budget.
It's a large sum of money, and I advocated for federal help, and if I were governor, I'd be advocating for more federal assistance. In fact, is it Mr. Armbruster, the chair of the House Finance Committee, has even said that he thinks that there is need for continued federal assistance. This economy is improving. I'm proud of the fact that Ohio's economy is doing much better than most of the rest of the nation. According to the Federal Reserve out of Philadelphia, over the last 12 months, we've had the 5th strongest state economy in America. Our unemployment has gone down 8 months in a row. Only 2 states in America have had that 8-month consecutive months of declining unemployment. Last month, 21 states saw an increase in unemployment, not in Ohio. So why is Ohio doing better than most other states? I think it's because I have managed the affairs of this state using common sense thinking and approaches to difficult problems.
How dramatic do you think these cuts? I mean, we're talking teachers, education. Incoming House Speaker Batchelor told me that he expects protests on the lawn right outside this building sometime during the next 6 months because the cuts are going to be very deep. It's going to be painful.
Yeah. Well, we need to be cautious because this economy is still fragile, and that's my point with saying we need additional federal help. I believe America is emerging from this recession. Ohio certainly is showing signs. But the economy is very fragile. And if we see the dramatic withdrawal of expenditures at the federal level, as well as what's likely to happen in all the various states, I think it could have a depressing effect upon this recovery. And we may find ourselves in a situation where we're facing a double dip kind of recession. I don't think anyone wants that. So I think we need to be very cautious. What I have said is that Ohio, and certainly the country, has some long-standing problems that have developed over decades that need to be dealt with in terms of getting our fiscal house in order. But you don't take problems that have developed over decades and then say, well, we're going to solve those problems in the midst of the most serious recession that we've had in 80 or more years. The economy will recover. It'll be gradual, I think. Once we get back to a more normal economic cycle, do we need to get serious about addressing spending and resources and how we utilize those resources and how to become more efficient? Of course we do. But I don't think it's reasonable to take those kinds of drastic actions while we are trying to emerge from a terrible, terrible recession.
Still ahead, we head to the State House cafeteria for some pancakes with the governor, and we'll ask him about his political future.